Good morning, and welcome to Two Scoops Morning News with Dan and Craig. I'm Craig,
And I'm Dan.
and I'm not wearing pants. Here's
You're watching Two Scoops Morning News with Dan and Craig, your sunrise reminder that things could get worse, so laugh at them while you still can.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, so this is not our typical morning news show because we're not talking about other people's news because that's not important. We are talking about our news because that's the only thing that matters.
Yes. I mean, as the world burns, that's all good and well, but until the burn comes to your door, until the burn stares you in the face and says, you need to move, it's not real. But
Yes.
this is very, very real. And
This is the realest real. We saw the videos like during Black Lives Matter where the police were like shooting pepper bombs and stuff and
yeah,
all that shit
and shooting like black people and stuff.
yeah, but and you desensitize yourself towards that stuff until you're facing the man directly in the face. Like,
Yes.
I mean, I don't even think the Black Lives Matter people could have predicted what we encountered 2 days ago.
Blue Lives Matter. Hashtag. Oh, shit. That's not. No. That's already taken.
It's already taken.
Goo.
Yeah.
Goo Lives Matter.
Goo lives don't matter.
So we went to see a show. Blue October is one of my favorite bands, and
One of mine as well.
I think they're up there on Craigslist.
Yes.
I knew that they were playing in Cedar Rapids, and I've seen them multiple times. And I didn't. I knew that the tickets were a little bit steep, but I didn't realize why because I didn't have any idea that they were opening for the Goo Goo Dolls and the Goo. As they are known to the really hardcore fans, of which we are definitely
Not.
So we go to this show. Goo Goo Dolls are fine. Okay, their music's okay. It's like
Yeah.
Christian contemporary music for secular individuals, and it's like triggering to me because it's got all the elements of a really bad worship song from the '90s, and it doesn't even talk about Jesus.
Chords. It's got the 4 chords though.
Yes,
So we're good.
it's like that South Park thing where Cartman starts a Christian band and he just takes love songs and puts the word Jesus in them. It's like that, but the opposite. You just took Jesus songs and took the word Jesus out of them and put baby in it instead.
Yeah, exactly. They do have Iris. Iris is their song.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know they had other songs. I just assumed they're gonna come play like.
They also have the Treasure Planet remix of Iris.
Oh, so just 2 different songs.
Yeah.
We're gonna play 2 songs. It's the same song, just remixed.
Yeah, they've got 1 or 2 decent ones. Like I legitimately don't have any issue with them, other than they don't put on a good show and they cut Blue October's show, or the agreement seems to be that Blue October would play for less time than the Goo Goo Dolls, which should not be a surprise, but it doesn't make the sting any less worse.
No.
So we're there at it's in like this amphitheater outdoor area with like chairs like folding chairs, which I thought was weird. Chairs all around. There's like space to stand way off to the side, way off to that side, way in the back. You can't stand up front though because you might get in the way of some people who paid to see the next band.
Yeah, who clearly have no interest in seeing Blue October whatsoever because they're sitting there like more focused on their $7.
Probably tweeting about how they're about to see the Goo Goo Dolls right now.
Yeah. Definitely so much more concerned about the burnt $7 hamburger in their hands than they were about Blue October.
John loves Blue October, if that's who you're talking about.
Well, no, not John. Just everybody else that was focused.
He had the burnt burger. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, they had like 6 beer tents that all had the same beer. No complaints there, obviously. But 1 food tent in this quote-unquote food court. 1 food tent that had like boiled brats or hot dogs for $7, I think, or you can get a black
hot dog,
a black hockey puck of an $8 burger. Legitimately, we should have taken a picture of this. It was just charred black. It wasn't
Okay,
mine, otherwise it would have went back and gotten refunded. But
I only realized the burgers were so burnt when somebody 2 seats down from me, your friend John, our friend John, 2 seats down, sat down. I wasn't even looking, and I could smell the burnt on that burger from
yeah,
2 people away. I turned, I'm just like, "Oh, that doesn't smell good," and I looked,
it was
and
a it was similar to sitting 2 feet away from a campfire. It doesn't make the smell any less potent. I feel like we could have warmed our hands over that burger because it had seen better days.
yes. So we are there, and we are like probably, I don't know, we're like 3 rows up from the very back, which isn't that far back for this tiny little park place. Because the other weird thing is it's so long, like horizontally, and
Mm-hmm.
not there's no depth to it. So even if you got like shitty far back seats, you're not that far back.
Yeah.
But again, like there's folding chairs at an outdoor concert, which is bizarre to me.
Right.
And the folding chairs literally go all the way up to the edge of the stage,
Yes.
except down the aisles. And so we're sitting there, and I'm like, I cannot sit during this. And you're like, I cannot sit during this. So we stood up and realized we are standing directly in people's ways, obviously. And we figured people would follow suit because they were following. I mean,
They
anything else
did.
we did that night,
They did.
they stood up
Some
when we
people.
were just
Oh, just standing. No, no
no.
people did. Not even our friends. Also, to you guys, you're fucking old, and screw you.
Stand up at a
You
fucking
said
concert.
they stood. Okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but just spoiler alert: they stood for the goo. Okay, because they had to, because of peer pressure, because they couldn't see. They
Nobody was
stood
peer
for the
pressure.
goo.
So, but we did notice before the show started that we are really good at starting lines,
Uh,
no matter where we stood.
Yeah.
We
Oh
would
yeah. Yeah. We would just be standing to look at merch off to the side, and lines would form behind us. Then we'd walk somewhere else and just stand in an open field, and a line would form behind us. We even before we got in the gate, like we were there. You weren't on the same side as us, but me and Ben and John, or no, me, Ben and Sam, John's brother. We were just standing on the other side, and there's assigned seats, so it's not like there needed to be a line to get into this thing, other than you can get frisked a little bit sooner. But we are just standing on the sidewalk, very casually spread out, and then people just start walking up and standing behind us, forming a line. And I didn't say anything. I'm just standing there like how much do I care to tell you that you have no reason to be standing next to me right now? Like, I'm not even next to the gate. It's over there. I just happen to be on the sidewalk and look like I'm going to a show. But we thought about checking their tickets and just being like, "Hey, let me see it. Can I see your ticket? That's a nice ticket. I'd
Yes.
love to see Blue October someday."
So we felt that because of our newly discovered line forming powers, that if open aisles all the way to the front that are wide open, nobody's really standing for this.
Yeah.
So it's like, look at all that open space up there. If we go up there to the edge of the stage, people will surely follow us.
Now,
And
what would have been funny is if we went up there and they did follow us, but they formed a line behind us.
yes. And so we finally worked our way to the front of the stage, and then a few people did follow us. I think there was probably like 10 people around us by the event, the incident, I guess I should call it.
hmm
Um, finally, and I was like, I remember like the
The
thing I said.
attack. The attack is what I call it.
Yes, the thing I said before we went up was exactly verbatim. What's the worst they can do? Send us back to our seats?
Well, the
And
worst
then
that they could do is say you need to leave in the middle of the set that you paid way too much money for. Here's the thing. We paid Goo Goo Dolls prices to see Blue October, and nobody else did. They paid Goo Goo Dolls prices for Goo Goo Dolls. I don't know if we've made this clear, but it was a Goo Goo Dolls crowd. It was very much a Goo Goo Dolls crowd. We were the only ones standing in our little back area. There were some people up front. I don't know if they were standing because they were Blue October fans or because they spent way too much money and they have front row seats and it feels weird to not stand. That's why we stood in the back, because it just feels wrong. I'm not quite that old that I can once the music starts, I can't just like sit there politely and wait for it to be over. I came to see this show.
Right. Well, you did have that one girl that was clearly on something because she jumped the entire set, and I don't know how somebody can have that much energy, but maybe I guess back in our days, maybe we did too, but in
I don't
our
know anything about this person. Didn't see her face. Didn't see her body even. Just saw the back of her head, and I'm gonna marry her one day.
just because of your passion.
Just because she jumped for the entire Blue October set, and I didn't see her jump once for the Goo Goo Dolls. So she was there for. She had her priorities straight. That, or she showed up drunk, and then she just got too drunk to jump around for Goo Goo Dolls.
She was sleeping by Goo Goo Dolls.
In which case, the marriage is off.
So let's get into the incident. Describe the incident from your recollection.
I thought we were doing that. So we showed up to this Blue October show.
No, I mean
I know. So two or three songs into their set, we're just like, screw it. Let's just do it. Let's just go up. And worst that they could do is send us away, as you said. They could have kicked us out, but it's very unlikely. Like, these aren't security guards we're talking about here. These are elderly folks that they brought in from the nursing home, put a green polo on them, and said, make sure this crowd doesn't get out of hand. So, yes.
They took their job way too serious, too.
This was their last chance at proving to the world that they are the authority once more. And they took full advantage of it, every advantage that they could, because we go up and I was like, well, if we go up there and they tell us to leave, we can just be like, oh, we were on our way to the beer tent or something, or like we can veer off or something. But like, I can't even describe how much open, empty space there is here. Like this massive sidewalk area, massive aisles and everything, like tons of wasted space. And we're just two guys standing there behind some other people that are also standing. And we are not taller than the people that are standing next to us. We are not obstructing the view of anybody behind us that wasn't already obstructed by the people that paid for those seats. We were harming nobody, and we were one of maybe 20 to 40 people that were there out of, I don't know, how many people would you say it was at this show? Like 800 or something?
Yeah, by the time the Goo showed up, maybe 1,000, maybe.
Yeah. So we're a very small fraction of people here. And then the green shirts came out. This old man comes out. He's like, "Oh no, what?"
Yeah. First, there was just the one really elderly man.
Yes.
Like you could have breathed on him and he would have fallen over.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, you can't stand here." And we just kind of
we ignored him for about a third of a song at least.
So my intention was, I'm just going to pretend to be recording them, which I was recording the song just so I could be like,
I was then too.
I can't hear you because I'm recording this song. So
sorry, it's too loud. You have to speak up. I can't hear you.
The elderly man,
I don't understand hand gestures and pointing.
proceeded to hold his hands up in front of my camera screen to get my attention.
Yeah, I talked to this guy multiple times because he came up and said something, and I ignored him for a while, and then I was like, are you serious? I said, dude, we are like 1/100th of the people here, and we are the only ones here to see these guys. As soon as the Goo starts, we will be out of your way. We do not care about them. And clearly these people don't care. These people behind us don't care about what's happening here. And he's like, no, they paid for those seats. I'm like, they're still sitting in them, and there's still people standing here in front of them. What does that change? We paid for seats too, and we are not using them right now because fuck seats. Right. So he was like, no, you got to go. And I was like, all right, fine. And so I walk like, I don't know, 5 feet back and stand in a slightly different area and pretend like, oh, like you just turn around and you're like, oh, this song. Oh yeah, I forgot that conversation I just had. And he comes up, he's like, no, you can't stand. Like, it was a while. We had some breaks in between these confrontations, but
we thought we were going to pull it off because it's like this one old man is not going to do anything besides be disgruntled. And
you want to go, Pops?
At one point, there was, like I said, 7 or 8 of us there, and we were like, they're not going to make us all leave. or this one dude's not gonna make us all leave. And there was that one chick that was like,
We
"Let's
were
link arms," and
right.
like,
We were in linking arms territory with like about 8 to 10 people that followed suit once we set the standard. I don't think some of those people had seats. I think they were from the way back. Which even then, it's like I don't care if you had seats. I don't want my seats. But the band was interacting and seemed to be enjoying that suddenly they had fans that were there to see them.
yeah.
And
I feel like once we were dispersed, finally, and we'll get there. But once we dispersed, the energy of the concert left too. Maybe that was just our attitudes towards it, but I feel like
quite
the
possible.
band lost
Maybe
their
it was the Goo Goo Dolls that sucked all the energy out of the room.
Yeah, maybe that was it. So anyway,
Yeah. So
go.
we I don't know. There's Justin. Justin, if you're out there, if you ever see this, just say something. Just say something. Say thanks, guys, or like, hey, fucking green shirts, stop taking away our tiny, tiny audience right now. Like, nothing against Blue October. They do bring a crowd when it's like a specifically Blue October show, but when it's a Goo Goo Doll show. And again, I didn't even know that much in advance. I didn't care that it was a Goo Goo Doll show. I was fine with paying Goo Goo Dolls prices. At first, I didn't realize it was a Goo Goo Doll show, and I was like, wow, that Blue October is pulling that kind of draw that they can charge that much for a show. I mean, good on them, and I will pay it. But yeah,
So
when
we
you find out that the money is actually going towards the goo and a short Blue October set, it's disappointing. But
so we gotta quickly get to the good parts of this when they brought in their mob of green shirts, because we haven't even got there yet.
yes, they called in reinforcements and to deal with this
How do you-
unruly mob.
Did they have like walkie-talkies or something? Because where did all these green shirts come from? Because
They-
I didn't see any communication devices on them.
I mean, they had. It was a Goo Goo Dolls crowd, and even a Blue October crowd. It's a little bit heavier music, but they're not like moshers. They're not like causing a scene or anything. It's not like they went up front and started circle pitting or jerking
No,
or anything.
we were
Like-
watching,
right.
just watching.
We're just standing there, enjoying ourselves and singing along politely. It's like the most ridiculously mundane protest I've ever been involved in, with the most ridiculously mundane counter, yes, that I've ever seen. I don't know. Where were we? Where were we in this story?
We had just linked arms.
Yes, we linked arms and we're singing "Into the Ocean," a song about killing yourself, and we're all singing along happily and joyously to this emo shit. And I mean, that's like their second most popular song from back in the day. And then "Hate Me" starts as we're like about to walk away. "Hate Me" starts, like their biggest hit of all time ever, and we're like, surely people will join us.
My exact words were, "Good luck getting people to leave during this song."
Right.
I said that straight to a green shirt. I think the old dude's face was like, "Yeah, you're not going to get anybody to leave during this song."
And then we left.
Little did I know that crowd of linked arms was a very weak link.
Yeah. I mean,
The 10 to 12 mob of green shirts that flooded in obviously brought the one big dude that was there just specifically for this point.
they brought in
And he-
Tiny, like the one guy who's just on retainer in the trailer, and they're like, we have a code Tiny, and he comes out in his like triple XL green shirt and throws the hammer down.
Yeah, he's like, "You guys need to leave," and all of a sudden, all the linked arms are just like poof, gone. It's like,
like shit.
what just happened?
Like I was gonna pull another, take a few steps to the left and then pretend like I forgot. But as I do that, I like turn around and suddenly all these people that were just like ready to stand in front of a bulldozer to save a tree, they're just like gone. Like, oh, okay. That's where the emo folks. I mean, that's their level of dedication to this. And frankly, I was pretty close to giving up at that point as well. Because it's like, what am I going to do? Stand here and argue with an old man for the entire show? That's not that much of an upside.
But it would have made a good story.
And that's why we are here today.
Yes. So we proceed. Then there was we got to mention the short lady that tailed us the whole rest of the concert.
Oh yeah. As we're leaving, I do give it one more stab because there's like a garbage can off to the side, and I'm like like slow motion walking over there just to be a dick, and then I stop, slowly drop my cup in, and then I'm like, oh, a band. He came over one more time and said, "No, stop it." And
This one lady, they put her on our detail to follow us the rest of the evening. She comes over. She's like, "No, you need to leave now." And so I'm like, "I'm going to get the beer." And she's like, "Then go get a beer." And so I start
I'm not
walking over.
thirsty now. Thank you very
And I
much.
walk over and like we walked over probably a good 50 feet and turned around, and she followed us there. We're not even in
This is
front of
like
anybody
grassy
at this point.
walking path, like with nobody in the way. We're in the way of nobody, possibly. Nobody
We're
is there.
almost to the beer line at this point,
We're almost
which
not closer than we were sitting in our seats. Like, it's
yeah,
not like we're really pulling one over on you here, lady.
she follows us there, and she's like, "No, go back to your seat." And it was just like, "What the hell, lady?" So finally, we disgruntledly walked to the back, further back
Yeah.
than our
We
seats
stayed.
were.
Well, yeah, we walked around to get back to our seats. And as we're walking around, I'm like, there's like people here in the back, like standing behind the seats, but they're like at least enjoying themselves. And it was only like a few rows back from our seats anyway. And I'm like, as we're walking past these people that are like dancing and having a good time, I'm like, hey, can we stand with you? Because we would like to be with a couple people that are actually enjoying this. And we just got kicked out of enjoying ourselves by the fun police.
So we're standing in the standing section now, which is less money than the money we paid
Yes.
for the sitting section.
Yes.
And I happen to accidentally move slightly to the right, which happened to be in front of this like yellow caution tape that you're not supposed to go in.
Yeah.
And there's nobody in that caution tape. There's nothing in that caution tape at that where I was. And all of a sudden, short lady, green shirt lady appears. We're at this point
She
100
just
yards
pops up
from
from
where we
underneath
were.
the little step up
She
there.
did. She did. She just pops up and she's just like, "No, you need to scoot over to
She's
the
like, you
standing
need to be 2 feet to the right. That is the standing room area. Like
I've
the
never felt so
restrictions,
oppressed in my
the
life."
restrictions for this show in Iowa, where there were no COVID lockdown, hard precautionary measures, and long after COVID has been proven to be false, they their restrictions in this park were more severe than anything that I saw in Illinois from COVID, other than masking, obviously. But like,
When you weren't supposed to be at a concert.
right, yeah. So
I mean,
yeah.
I
And then
as
I also quickly realized that those people that filled me with hope because they were enjoying the music and dancing and stuff. I'm pretty sure they were Goo Goo Dolls fans, and it dawned on me. These people were dancing and singing because they were still playing "Hate Me." They were playing the song that Goo Goo Dolls fans might know, and they weren't as into it after that. So I was slightly disappointed, but oh well.
so have you felt more oppressed in your life ever?
I was shot by a cop once.
Oh, well, that's not nearly as bad as being
He knelt on my neck
Ew.
for like 8
Any-
minutes,
Yeah,
but this was worse.
so much worse. Yes, I mean, it was just so like ridiculously. It was like the most lackluster form of being discriminated against. It was like this wasn't even like
We were already clearly the minority at this show. I mean,
Mm.
we were the minority, and we were being told that we have to stand in a certain area. We had to go to the back of the back of the show.
At one point, we're like, because the lady was still lingering, we're like, you were like, we should go back to our seats because she's not going to believe that those are our seats and she's going to kick
Right.
us out of our own seats.
She's not going to believe that these assholes bought seats. They seem like, the
Yeah,
standards.
why would somebody who paid for seats be standing somewhere?
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, at least we get to watch the show. And then the show was over.
Yeah, basically by that point it was done. And we're like, oh, hopefully they do an encore. And we're like, no,
Oh
but
shit.
my
Like
exact
there's no like reverb or anything. The lights came back on. It's like, oh, there's no. And there's also
well,
nobody chanting one more song at a Goo Goo
well,
Dolls show when they're
that's
just
what I
there to
said.
see the next band.
That's what I said. I was like, "Oh, would you do an encore to this crowd here that has no energy towards you whatsoever? Because I sure wouldn't."
Right.
I'd be like, "I'm going back to my trailer to eat
Yep.
my M&Ms."
Yeah, yeah. So I don't hold it against them for not coming out and doing a meet and greet at that point. And I'm sure, like, they're on tour with Goo Goo Dolls, so I'm sure this is probably every night for them. And they were like, they said their name in between each song.
Yeah.
Hey, we're Blue
Remember
October. We're Blue October. Don't forget we're Blue October. And I'm like, I get it. I get that you have to do that. And the point of this is to get Goo Goo Dolls fans to listen to your music and remember who you are. But it's just sad. It's
the
sad.
whole thing was
The last
sad.
time I
It was
saw them, they
great.
were the headliner, and that was much better. When you're in like a sea of other elder emos that are there and knowing all the things, know even more than you, it's a beautiful experience that I can't even explain. And then to spend a half a Blue October show, a half of a half show, arguing with an old man in a green shirt who has an authority complex is a completely different experience altogether. And then to add insult to injury, to have to stand around during a fucking Goo Goo Dolls show afterwards is just
didn't.
like, give me a break.
I didn't. I heard one song that sounded similar to Iris, and I was like, "I'm leaving because I don't want to sit through the Goo Goo Dolls traffic." We stood long enough. I waited long enough to yell after the first song, "Goo!" And at that point, there was a police officer strategically placed directly behind us, and I
Right.
don't know
Yeah,
if
we
that
had
was.
real police officers at this point that seemed to have an eye on us.
And I mean, he's like 4 feet from us the entire. After the short little green shirt lady left, I think she called in. She's just like, "Can you keep an eye on these assholes?" But you could just see it in their eyes as they're roaming up and down through the crowd that they were looking for
Right.
like the troublemakers out there. It's like, what would they have done if there was actual troublemakers there? Nothing, because they're all frail, like
Right.
so frail. And it's just like, what are you looking for here? What are you actually going to do? Because you could barely handle us, which
Right.
was very much nothing.
And yes, the extent of our fighting the law was ignoring them until they told us again. And they seem to have a hard time handling that kind of confrontation. So I don't know, like, what. I understand that when you book security for a Goo Goo Doll show, you don't expect it to get too out of hand. But we did. We stood there
You
for a
know,
minute.
when they went on their walkie-talkies to call in reinforcements, they're like, "Guys, this is what we trained for. It's on."
Yep. We've got a code
Uh,
blue. That's when the Blue October fans, both of them, get out of hand.
we knew it would get this way. I don't know why they invited Blue October onto their tour, because it always gets this out of hand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not one to like calmly accept authority of any kind, much less elder authority of complete absurdity bullshit kind. But man, it felt good. It felt
It did.
good.
I feel like we did our part
Yeah.
in standing up against the man. I do.
At the very least, we went up there and said, "Hey, Justin, the hell, dude? Hey, we're here. We're the ones. We're the ones that
We
are here
want,
for you."
we want you to know you do have fans out here, and if there is no energy, it's not us. It's the green shirts.
Yeah. It's not our lack of energy. Now we're going to go back to our seats and calmly, politely sit down and watch from a distance as my favorite band plays. Anyway, is there anything else? Is there anything else?
That's it.
I stayed for the Goo Goo Dolls set because I didn't drive. I rode with some of the people, and it was long, it was arduous, and there was one point where I literally was like, I just went into the porta potty and just sat there for a while. I was like, I'm done with people, and I don't care about this music. Like, I just need a break from everybody. And then I did eventually go back to my seat, and again, they were standing by that point. Everyone was standing, which was just like middle fingers all around. It's like,
They're all flipping you off.
Yes, I appreciate that you're standing. I don't appreciate that you're standing for the goo, and I really don't appreciate that you're standing for the goo after sitting for a good band. That's all.
And none of you stood up
Where
against
were you guys?
Yeah.
In fairness, I think John and Crystal said that they did come up after us to join us, and then they got up there and we were already escorted away. So
It's convenient. It's convenient for him to say that at that point.
he was probably just watching. He was like, "Oh yeah, we totally went up there." Like we can tell him that we did the cool thing.
Well, that's all the time I have to spend on it.
All right. I think that's all the time it warrants. But any final thoughts on fighting the law winning, and paying them a lot of money to argue with them for a night?
I mean, if you're gonna stand for something, at least stand long enough to say no, and then when they push harder, say okay.
Make them at least say yes 3 times before
Yes, at
you give
least
up.
3 times before you disperse.
Because
That-
here's the little secret: at a show that you paid to get into, even if it was real security guards, at any show, if you're standing there politely saying no, and they say yes, that's probably all they're gonna do. They might stand in your way. They might ruin the show. They already have. The show was ruined before we got there.
Yes.
Fuck it. Just do it. Like, give them a story at the very least. And that's why I said during this, like, yes, this sucked, but at least we have a fun story to tell in the future. And it was going to be a short Blue October set anyway, so, you know, what the story before would have been, they played their songs really well, and then the Goo Goo Dolls sucked. Now, not only do we have a story, but that elder whatever nursing home security guard gets to go back to his nursing home and tell all of his buddies, we just stood in the face of danger, and we said no, and we said yes, put that camera away and get back. I am really pissed off that we didn't like start filming them like it was like a police pullover or something,
I thought that
and
this
make
morning.
something
I was
out of
like,
it.
Why did you not film this thing?
We did film some things, and we should have had it ready, and then we didn't, but here we are. Craig, where can people find you and the things that you do that have nothing to do with Blue October for the most part?
They can find all the non-Blue October things that I do for the most part at Break the Bell Pod. I'm the Break the Bell Podcast. You can find me on all the podcast platforms and YouTube and social media at Break the Bell Pod.
Yes. And you can find me at thesystemisdown.tv or on Twitter at TSIDpod. And we just did a 2-hour episode with Jack Casey yesterday where we talked about hell getting a new queen. So if you like the spicy stuff, go on over there. And listen to Blue October because they're good and underappreciated. And listen past the music and get deeper. Blue October is actually my intro song, Colors Collide. But this has been fun, and we'll do it again whenever we do. Until next time, fuck the green shirts.
This has been Two Scoops Morning News every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 a.m. Central or whenever we feel like it. Until next time, hang in there, America.